In the quiet village of Bethany, a small house stood, home to Lazarus and his sisters, Mary and Martha. Known for their hospitality, their home was a frequent stop for Jesus during his travels. Their bond was one of deep affection and mutual respect. One day, Lazarus fell gravely ill. The sisters, anxious and fearful, sent word to Jesus, who was teaching in a region far from Bethany. "Lord," their message read, "the one you love is sick." They waited, hoping for his swift return, clinging to the belief that if he were present, Lazarus would be healed. Upon receiving the message, Jesus calmly responded, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Yet, to the puzzlement of his disciples, he did not rush to Bethany but stayed where he was for 2 more days. Finally, Jesus announced to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." The disciples, aware of the dangers awaiting in Judea, were reluctant. "Rabbi, the Jews there tried to stone you, and yet you are going back." Jesus, with a tone of finality, said, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to wake him up." His disciples misunderstood, thinking Lazarus merely slept, but Jesus clarified, "Lazarus is dead, and for your sake, I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him." Arriving in Bethany, Jesus found Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days already. The house was filled with mourners who had come to comfort Mary and Martha. Martha, upon hearing of Jesus' arrival, went out to meet him, her heart heavy with grief and confusion. "Lord," she said, "if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus replied to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Jesus then spoke words of profound truth and comfort. "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she replied. "I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." With this declaration of faith, Martha went to call her sister Mary, who came quickly to Jesus, falling at his feet, repeating her sister's words of heartfelt sorrow. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Deeply moved by their sorrow, Jesus asked, "Where have you laid him?" They led him to the tomb, a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. The grief of the sisters and the mourners touched Jesus deeply, and he too wept. Then, with a solemn yet commanding voice, he instructed, "Take away the stone." Martha hesitated, citing the odor of decay, but Jesus reassured her, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" As the stone was rolled away, Jesus prayed aloud, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." Then with a loud voice, he called into the tomb, "Lazarus, come out." To the astonishment of all, Lazarus came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and a cloth around his face. Jesus said to them, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go." The miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead solidified many in their faith and stirred others to fear and envy. This remarkable sign, demonstrating Jesus' mastery over life and death, prefigured the greater glory yet to come, setting the stage for the final days of Jesus' earthly ministry. Through the story of Lazarus, we are reminded of the profound power of faith and the promise of resurrection, not only in the life to come, but in the here and now, wherever hope is brought to life out of despair.